She was the only person waiting for an order. There was no line behind her, no crowd around the counter, but every few minutes, one of the baristas looked over and said, "Yours is almost ready." Then they went back to their conversation. The older woman smiled, nodded, and continued standing there. She had gray hair, a small handbag, and the kind of patient expression that made it seem like she had spent a lifetime learning not to complain. I was sitting in the corner of the Starbucks watching all of this. From behind my laptop, my Cascadia shoes were resting beneath the table. A portable monitor stood beside my laptop. A calculator, 3 highlighters, and a notebook were spread across the table like I was preparing to take over the company. Next to my keyboard was a cold red drink filled with berries. I had headphones on, but nothing was playing. Sometimes I wear them because I need to concentrate. Sometimes I wear them because they give people a reason not to talk to me. Most of the coffee shop was quiet. Everyone was minding their own business, heads down, fingers scrolling. One person was writing neatly on an iPad with a stylus. Another person had been staring at the same social media video for at least 10 minutes. Occasionally, somebody looked at my setup, the monitor, the calculator, the pile of highlighters. Maybe they thought it was excessive. Maybe they wondered why a grown man needed to bring half an office into Starbucks. But I had already spent too much of my life worrying about how preparation looked to people who did not know my goals. That evening, I was studying for a cloud certification, not because my manager told me to, not because my company was paying me extra. I was studying because I had been in the same position for almost 3 years, and I was tired of being told to wait. Near the counter, the baristas continued talking. One of them was describing something she wanted to do with her life. Maybe school, maybe a different job, maybe moving somewhere new. Another barista laughed and said, "You're young. You have plenty of time." That sentence made me stop highlighting. You have plenty of time. I had heard different versions of that sentence throughout my career. You are still early in your career. Your opportunity will come. Keep doing what you're doing, maybe during the next review cycle. For years, I treated those statements like promises. I accepted more work. I stayed late. I trained new employees. I solved problems that did not belong to me. I believed that if I remained useful, patient, and quiet, somebody important would eventually notice. Then the promotion went to someone else. He was not a bad person. He was not unqualified, but he had done something I had not done. He told people exactly what he wanted. He built relationships with decision makers. He made his ambition visible. I had been waiting for my work to speak for me. The problem was, work does not walk into a meeting and explain itself. It does not remind your manager about the nights you stayed late. It does not ask when the promotion decision will be made. It does not tell people what you are capable of becoming. That was when I realized something uncomfortable. I had confused patience with having a plan. Patience can be useful when you know where you are going, but waiting without a deadline is not patience. Sometimes it is fear wearing professional clothes. So I started coming to Starbucks after work. At home, it was too easy to sit down, turn on the television, and tell myself I would study tomorrow. Here, I had already carried in the monitor. I had already opened the notebook. I had already paid nearly $6 for a red drink filled with berries. I might as well finish the lesson. The Cascadia shoes were not stylish office shoes. The setup did not look elegant, and the calculator probably made no sense next to a computer capable of processing millions of calculations per second. But none of that mattered. My goal was not to look successful inside a coffee shop. My goal was to become difficult to overlook outside of it. Across the street, I could see a McDonald's through the window. People walked in, ordered, received their food, and left. Meanwhile, the gray-haired woman was still standing near the Starbucks counter, still waiting, still smiling whenever somebody told her that her order was almost ready. Nobody was intentionally being cruel to her. The baristas were busy. The customers were distracted. Everyone had their own problems, their own messages, and their own screens. But that is how people sometimes become invisible, not because everyone dislikes them, because nobody is paying attention. Corporate life can feel the same way. You can be responsible, dependable, and quiet. You can complete every task placed in front of you, and still become invisible because everyone assumes you will. Continue waiting without asking questions. So, ask for clarity. When someone tells you that your opportunity will come later, ask what later means. Ask which skills are missing. Ask who makes the decision. Ask when the decision will be reviewed again. And while you are asking, build skills that belong to you, not only to your current job. Create your own deadline. Maybe you give the company 6 months. Maybe you apply to another team. Maybe you earn a certification, finish a portfolio project, or start interviewing somewhere else. You do not need to quit tomorrow, but you should know how long you are willing to remain in the same place. I looked at the clock on my laptop. The woman had been waiting for 23 minutes. I removed my headphones, walked toward the counter, and said, "Excuse me, I think she's still waiting for her order." One of the baristas checked the screen. Her order had been completed, but placed behind another group of drinks. They apologized and handed it to her. The woman thanked them, picked up her bag, and slowly walked toward the door. I returned to my table. I closed the calculator. I placed the highlighters back into my bag, and before shutting down the portable monitor, I scheduled my certification exam. Not another practice test. Not another day of preparing to prepare. The actual exam. She had been waiting for 23 minutes. I had been waiting for almost 3 years. Her wait was caused by an accident. Mine had slowly become a habit. That night, both of us finally received something. She received her drink, and I received a deadline. Let people judge the shoes. Let them judge the monitor, the calculator, and the pile of highlighters. They do not need to understand the setup. They only need to see the result. Headphones on. Goal first.